The trial continues, and it is moving rather fast. Even we're not slowing it down that much.
Not for lack of trying, mind you.
I can't deny any of your words, so I'll just say we're the Bittersweet Gamers.
I'm We Squared.
I'm the Opinionator, and we are moving on to Tenko's case, which is going to be the one where we spend the rest of our time, I would imagine. Like we said in the investigation videos, we're pretty darn sure it was Korekiyo. I can't see how it could be anybody else.
As soon as Angie died, he called for a seance. Well, just so happens that each room that the seance could have potentially taken place in had a cross piece missing from a very particular board, which happened to also be in the center of the magic circle, and that also happens to be where he put the marker stone so that the victim, whether it was Himiko or Tenko, would have been sitting in just the right spot. Put the cage on, put the tarp on, put the statue on, turn out the lights, start singing the chant, "He's the only one who has the magic circle memorized," and who could cross in complete darkness while still singing, lift the tarp, stomp on the board, stab him with the sickle. He's the only one who could have done it!
The killer piece of evidence for me is those cross pieces.
Yeah, because it proves that the whole thing was set up ahead of time, which means that somehow he knew Angie had been killed.
Yeah, and if he was planning on killing someone with a seance, he wouldn't have done it after someone else had died unless he knew what he was going to get out of it.
Right.
Either by asking the Mono Cubs how the trial clarification was going to work, which he did not do because they were surprised, or if it was set up to be a big distraction to prove that he couldn't have done the first one.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to be worried about the rules if he's the one who killed both people in any case.
Right.
Because he's the only guilty person. So he doesn't need to ask for clarification. And yes, he asked for volunteers to go to the seance, for a volunteer to be the spirit medium in the center under the cage. He asked, where should we do it, and waited for other people to volunteer the rooms. And that's why the different cross pieces were prepared.
Yeah, because that way, no matter which of the 3 rooms they picked, he'd be able to do it.
It's a neat defense that he has set up there. I didn't choose the room. It could have been me, but that's just a defense when you look at the other rooms. Anyway.
Let us talk about Tenko's case then. Perhaps that will provide us a clue.
Yeah, maybe.
They're not wrong, but... They're not wrong! Do it! I don't mind going over Tenko's case. Honestly, I want to solve it too, but that was an abrupt change of topic. Was that intentional?
So what do we talk about first?
What? Intentionally abrupt change of topic? No.
Honestly, I think Korekiyo covered his tracks too much. Enough that it makes him look suspicious. He didn't have a particular target. He didn't pick the room. He's moving on.
He's not really pushing against changing the topic to go over the case that would actually indict him.
It's like it's too clean. If you're under suspicion, you normally can't prove that you're out, you know?
True. Another strategy Korekiyo might employ is if we do start to target him with it and he's like, they're about to pin it on me. I will admit to this murder, but I did not commit the first one. The damning piece of evidence here is that the seance murder was prepared ahead of time. If he can get them to stop exploring it before they get to that point and just be like, well, it doesn't matter, I didn't kill Angie.
And then just say, well, I'm an idiot and I made a mistake. I didn't realize that I wouldn't get credited. But either way, I'm not out of the game. And I still didn't kill Angie, though.
Yeah.
I mean, the I'm an idiot defense is certainly something. I mean, that's the defense that appears to be being employed by Sam Bankman-Fried. Oh, I went there.
For now, let's see if we can narrow down the list of suspects.
Easy.
Tencrotch probably got killed during the seance, so everyone there's suspicious.
I will murder you!
There you have it, folks. Billy has announced his intent to murder. In any case, this is where we should start.
Tencrotch!
Yeah, get her. Get her.
Death curse! Death curse!
Dang it! She didn't do it! The people who attended the seance. The people who attended the seance were...
Kokichi, Himiko, Shuichi, Korikyo. Yeah, those are ones.
Okay, yeah.
That's it!
Ah! I was surprised!
It was me, Kyo, Himiko, and Kokichi.
Because it didn't count Tenko. There's 5 people there.
That's correct, but she's kind of not relevant to what we're talking about.
Well, yeah, I know,
As
but...
the list of suspects, she didn't kill herself.
Well, you're right. but what I'm saying is this whole time I've been thinking about Caged Child needs 5 people, including the spirit medium. And then right there we have a question about it. And it's like, not including the spirit medium, so I got confuzzled.
So those 4 are the culprits!
Yes, okay, every one of us did it. All of us at the same time, I admit it. Are you happy?
Oh, Himiko's still culprit?
Well, that's probably just a coinkydink. The most suspicious out of the 4 is really...
Yeah? Go on.
Himiko, he's going to say.
No!
Kyo. He suggested the whole seance idea.
Bless you, Kokichi!
Are we so wrong that everybody is constantly saying it was Korekyo? Like early on?
Maybe so. If so, then good job, Gabe.
I'll be impressed if it wasn't Korekyo. We'll just have been completely and utterly bamboozleificated-ified.
How'd that go again?
Bamboozleificated-ified.
Okay.
I'll be really impressed. Really impressed.
True, I may have suggested it, but I explained the procedure beforehand, yes?
That's right.
If we all knew of it before the murder, then we are all equally suspicious.
Except for the fact of the particulars of setting up the room ahead of time.
Yeah, everything you say would be true if it weren't for the cross pieces prepared ahead of time in 2 out of the 3 rooms, if not all 3 of the 3 rooms.
But we haven't gotten there yet.
Well, I suppose, but...
In addition, the seance wasn't entirely in my control either.
Just like you said.
I was not the one who selected the room we performed it in. It was Himiko.
I know, but the thing is you are protesting a bit too much. What a perfect defense. Except that it's so perfect, it's suspicious. For instance, when it comes to criminal prosecution, when there's multiple witnesses or persons of interest, if they all have the same story and they all match up, that's a red flag. That's way more suspicious than all the witnesses having slightly different variations on the same story. That's how people really think of things. That's how memory really works. If it's all too perfect,
it seems fake.
It seems very fake. That is a modern investigation technique, and that's kind of what this is. Oh.
You forgot to read the line.
I guess so. However, there are 3 empty rooms. Which one shall we use?
Boy, howdy. The middle room. The middle room's always best for stuff like this. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Very well. I will begin the preparations at once. We'll never do that again.
Right.
Probably. We might.
Also, we should not limit our suspects to only those who participated in the seance.
BS! It happened during the seance, you clown! I'll kill you!
But Kibo could have been wandering around underneath with the power of his glowing eyes.
First off, there was far too much space in the floorboards. We would have seen him.
You know, that's right. Nobody could have been down there with a light.
Secondly, they're contact lenses. He wouldn't be able to see with them on. That's not how eyes work. If he had nipple lights, it'd be different.
It's true. If he had nipple lights, it would be different. Do you see these floorboards? Do you see them? If there were somebody underneath there with a light, some of the light would come up in a completely pitch black room.
Exactly.
So it couldn't have been someone down there with a light. I will admit, we're not positive on what's up with the dried blood on the bottom part of this floorboard. Don't really know what's going on with that.
The best I got is the person who was sawing the cross pieces off may have cut himself while doing it. That's the only thing I got.
Or maybe, and I am not satisfied with this at all, but after killing Angie, a bloody Korekiyo then went to cut the cross pieces in the room.
And somehow didn't leak blood anywhere else.
Yeah, I'm not satisfied with that, obviously. So, since nobody can see in the dark, and nobody could have been under there with a light, it had to have been somebody who was there.
Right.
Also, if it was someone... Oh, now that we mention it, if it was someone who wasn't in the seance, well, they couldn't have gotten there by opening the door.
Yeah.
The room was pitch black.
Yeah.
So everyone would have noticed the door opening. It had to have been someone underneath the floorboards. But how would they have reached up and done the deed precisely?
Yeah.
How would they have been so lucky that the cross piece was already cut?
Yeah, because Kibo didn't see them set it up, so he wouldn't have known Tenko's exact position.
Right.
But this required exact information.
It requires information so exact that while you can definitely believe that the person who was in charge of it and who had it memorized for years, well, that person would have that exact information. Anyway.
The empty room had a point of entry from outside, you see.
Well, yes. A point of entry from outside, huh? He must be referring to... I mean, I guess this is where
top left corner, I think, the hole?
Well...
I think.
Would it be that, or would it be under the floorboard?
Well, let's try this, I guess.
The floorboards under Tenko were loose, but...
It was apparently not the answer.
Yeah. Okay, well...
I screwed up! They think I'm a fraud!
Well, I'm just not under the... I just wasn't under the impression that you could have... crawled out from the hole.
Yeah.
You're talking about under the floor, right?
Because of course that's what I was getting at.
Right.
Huh? Under the floor?
Yes, there's a crawl space under the floor a person could move through.
I mean, we never saw the hole itself. I just assumed it was small enough. Well, I guess that is how they crawled down here, but we never saw it.
Yeah, it wasn't very obvious.
It wasn't obvious that it was big enough, but anyway.
There was also a hole that connected it to the neighboring room.
Mm-hmm. So somebody could have gone into one of the other rooms.
If the culprit used the hole, they could have entered and exited the seance room.
If we consider that possibility, then there is another suspect.
Kibo.
Another suspect? Who?
It's appearing before me. Oh, I can see it clearly. The true identity of Tenko's killer.
In case anybody wants to tell me that Korekiyo is not theatrical, I would... Because I've continuously made that point. Well, what do you want me to say? He's going to point to Kibo, of course.
Right. No, so it's gonna be...
The culprit
yeah.
sneaked in during the seance by crawling under the floor.
But it was pitch black during the seance. How could they even see if they were under the floor?
Because it wasn't dark under the floor. You see, our villain had a light.
Right. Well, no,
Light?
that...
You mean candle?
That's true.
Yeah, that...
I mean Kibo's flashlight function.
Huh? Now, hold on a second.
Kibo could have used that function to get under the floor and sneak into the empty room during the seance.
I said hold on a second.
He used his robot functions to commit the murders.
Hold on a second.
Oh, no, hole in the corner. It's hole in the corner. We just...
Oh, yeah! Yeah, because then everyone would see him.
Yeah, we just established that's big enough for us to all leap down, so the space between the floorboards isn't what we're trying to prove. We just established there's a big old hole!
Yeah!
So the light would come from there. Where was it? It was the villain, etc., etc.?
Shoot, I was...
Okay, we might have to go through it one more time after this.
The culprit sneaked in during the seance.
Right? It's the hole, right?
By crawling under the floor.
Hold on a second!
Okay, we've gone through it again. The question is, which one do we do it on? I mean, this is it, right? We're right that it's the hole. They just made like that big old hullabaloo about the hole, so we shouldn't worry about the floorboard, we worry about the hole.
Right.
That's where the lights come from, right?
Yeah!
It's not this.
Well, it certainly isn't to agree with Gota that he had a candle. I can say that with 100% certainty.
What are we using on? There was our villain had a light and Kibo used the function to get under the floor. Don't both of those make sense? Right? Because we can say, no, he couldn't have used that function to get under the floor because we would have seen the light thanks to the hole in the cord. Wait, well, you see what I'm saying? Maybe? No?
What are you saying?
I'm not finishing any of my sentences.
How can I possibly see what you're saying? Sound is not visible.
It's true. Do we contradict that Kibo used this function to get under the floor by saying because the light would have come from the hole in the corner, but when I said that out loud, it made me think, I guess they want it on our villain had a light. Our villain did have a light, and because the hole in the corner, we could see it.
That makes sense.
Isn't that their logic? God, I hope we're
sneaked in
right.
during the seance.
I mean, we know what's going on.
Under the floor.
But it was pitch black.
Watch, it's gonna be all about the blinding word.
How could they even
and
see
that's
if
what
they were
Kibo
under
is
the floor?
doing when he's like, guys,
Because it
I
wasn't
can't
dark
see.
under the floor. You see,
What?
There we go!
Ah,
That's
Nis!
wrong!
It doesn't matter!
Oh, God!
I don't think the culprit could have used a light while under the floor.
It's just they all seemed valid! We know what we're trying to say! I'm just so glad this point came up. I was really thinking
There was a hole in the corner of the room.
that they weren't gonna go with this point, and we were just gonna have to ignore it.
If a light were used, it would have leaked through and we would have seen it.
Yes, I know!
Thank you!
But when we did the seance, the room was definitely pitch black.
So a light was not shined under the floor, which means you cannot claim I am the culprit.
So there!
Geez, here I thought this would be the case where the murder could only be done by a robot.
We're not doing killer robots.
Kibo is 3 laws compliant, you little troll.
You have accused me of being the culprit more than once now, simply because I am a robot.
He has accused you of many things throughout the game up until this point simply because you were a robot. It is in fact crappy. Don't worry, I actually am pretty much on your side here.
My status as a robot does not mean I am capable of performing superhuman feats.
Which is really lame. What's the point?
David, no!
My vision is somewhat poor, and I only possess average physical strength and intelligence.
You're not a robot!
All right, you made your point. God, now I feel sort of bad for you.
Oh my God.
I neither want nor need your pity.
Enough with the flashlight! It's way too bright!
Despacite!
It would have been difficult to move around under the floor in that pitch black darkness. Maybe the floor and the hole have nothing to do with this case.
No!
You were down there. You know it has everything to do with this case.
Then why was floorboard under Tenko lined up funny?
Guys!
Going to think that was so culprit could stab Tenko from under floor.
If she was stabbed from the direction of the floor, you might be correct.
Ooh, nice observation, Gonta. Are you finally getting used to the class trials?
Uh-huh. Thank you.
Well, that caught me off guard.
Don't say it like that. You're better off not being used to this kind of stuff.
I understand that, but I'd rather him be used to this kind of stuff, because otherwise he really gets in the way.
Yeah.
Maybe they marked Tenko with glowing paint and looked for that.
No. That was the second game.
Having said that, you're on to something.
That'd let the culprit find her. Then they could stab her through the floorboards.
I don't remember seeing any, meat skewers underneath there.
Bone the meat on. Come on, Monokuma, you have to respond to this. We've already had a callback to the first game in this trial.
Boy, that sounds really familiar too. But I'm just gonna ignore it.
So will I.
Her corpse didn't have any trace of glowing paint, though.
She's right, though. It was marked.
Yes.
Of course, there's only one person in this room who could take advantage of that marking. Oh, there's a person in the room who can take advantage of that marking.
Oh, yeah. So then why was that floorboard loose?
Because the iron cage was 3 feet high and 5 feet wide.
Yeah.
And so a 6-inch blade would not have penetrated. However, if you step on the crosspiece and the person isn't too heavy, which is why it really needs to be a girl that's the spirit medium, then you can lift the person up. You only have to lift them up 2 feet.
Yeah.
That's not really very far. And then you can stick the sickle in. I mean, there can't be any argument that the sickle was the murder weapon, right?
No!
The loose floorboard was the one under Tenko, right? If the culprit used it while she was still alive, she'd totally notice.
Well, she was told to be quiet, and feeling something weird in a seance
is to be expected, I suppose?
Especially for an earnest person like Tenko.
Yeah, especially since she's doing it for Himiko.
Right. Like, if it were Kokichi, he absolutely would have been like, ah!
Who fucking cares? Fussing over that won't get us closer to the culprit!
Okay, go play with your toys.
Well, since nothing of value was said right there, we better make sure that we're familiar with these truth bullets before we head into this part, so we don't get caught off guard. I mean, my God, we feel like we've been doing kind of poorly. Like, we clearly know what's going on, but...
As is often an issue with games like these, it's understanding what the game wants us to say that is usually the problem.
I'm still concerned about that dried blood on the bottom part of the floorboard and this bloody duct tape. We just don't completely understand those.
Yeah.
And then there's still that the victim's forehead was not bleeding as much as it should. That's why we thought this was stuck to the head, but... Anyway, that's why we're looking at these right now.
We shouldn't dismiss this line of inquiry, however. Instead of butting our heads against this, how about we concentrate on another issue?
Oh, direct us more, sir.
What other issue?
Perhaps first, we should figure out how and when exactly Tenko was killed.
Oh no!
Because this way he can implicate Himiko.
Yeah.
Which means that everybody is going to be jumping in and squabbling and arguing about this and trying to make her feel better, and she's going to throw a fit and say something dumb. And anyway, nobody will be looking at him while they're doing that.
Right.
When? So not during seance?
No! That's when it happened! I'll kill you all!
Tenko was in the metal cage for the whole seance, wasn't she?
If everyone is staring at you, Himiko, you cannot lift this iron cage, pull out a sickle, and kill Tenko with it. Right there, while everyone is staring at you. I'm sorry, we're all going to see that. If anybody could pull that off, it would be a stage magician.
Yeah.
But she didn't use any stage magic tricks.
Also, there is the issue of, blood splatter. That would be on her.
Yeah!
How could someone have gotten to her there?
Maybe the culprit killed her before she went under the metal cage.
No! She was talking.
That's not possible. She was alive at that point.
This is the point of no return, Tenko. After this point, you mustn't speak. Damon, Do not do some stupid voice. I will hurt you. With a sickle, as it were. The next time you open your mouth, it will be Angie speaking through you.
Understood. I will not say a word until the seance is over. Didn't say anything about me, buddy.
Yes, she was unmistakably alive when the seance began.
That was right before we blew out the candles. But when the light came back...
There was blood under the sheet.
The floorboard was removed at that point, so it's likely she was already dead then.
So she was killed when the room was dark?
But she was inside Cage, right? Going to think it impossible to kill her then.
We're already ahead of you, buddy.
Very impossible.
Then she wasn't killed when the room was dark. It was a different time.
You're just moving right past it? You weren't even there.
A different time?
Well, he is not going to bring it up.
Right?
He's going to wait for other people to accuse Himiko.
Yeah.
Which is pretty bright and not what I was expecting.
How the fuck should I know? You figure it out, shitheads.
Okay.
Huh? Since Gonta said it was impossible, I'm proposing an alternate theory. Now hurry up and think!
Of what that theory could be.
What? Well, you don't crowdsource a theory.
Well, yeah, you can.
If you want to make my golden brain tingle, start circle jerking your limp dick brains!
That doesn't make any sense!
What?
Don't make me implicate Himiko!
We don't even know where to begin!
Marker, stone, iron
When
cage, white
Tenko
sheet,
got
dogs.
killed, it wasn't during the seance.
It could not have been done at any other time.
This is wrong!
She was under the cage the whole time.
That's correct.
And she was dead when the cage was lifted.
Also true.
Stone, cage,
What
sheet,
about
statue,
moment
sickle?
Cage was lifted?
No.
Is that...
Like that.
Maybe that is...
When Cage lifted, culprit stabbed Tenko real fast.
No!
That was the...
So fast, no one saw.
This is the Gonta idea?
Yes.
Oh my!
Please stop.
So who lifted the cage?
It was me.
Then obviously Himiko is the culprit!
No!
There's no doubt!
Okay.
Okay.
Well, let's go through it one more time to confirm our points. I'm not really sure what we have to do, but we've got to, like, pay attention to what it is that... Weren't there only, like, 2?
It's like 3. I think 3, like normal.
When Tenko got killed, it wasn't during the seance.
It might be the sheet.
That's what I'm thinking.
It could not have been done at any other time. She was under the cage the whole time.
That's true.
So
And
that's...
she was dead when the cage was lifted.
Okay, stone, cage...
What about moment Cage was lifted?
Yeah!
It's the sheet there, right?
Yeah!
Because
there's blood on the sheet.
Right.
And the sheet was
When
already
Cage
removed.
lifted,
That's what I
culprit
was
stabbed
That's why I
Tenko
was
real
saying
fast.
that about the sheet, yeah.
Yeah.
So fast, no one saw.
Could it be any of the other ones?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure it was the white sheet.
Because there's blood on the sheet, and the sheet had already been lifted, so where'd the blood come from? That has to be it.
Yeah, there's blood on the back around the middle of the sheet. And Korikiyo was the one who placed the sheet over the cage and removed it off the cage. It has to be that.
I believe that is correct. We should look at the sickle. I guess it's because the sickle could be concealed under clothes, because we know that this is the weapon. So how would she have had, or anybody would have had, or disposed of...
Yeah, like she would have had to stab them and then scoot over to the hole and drop it down the hole. All while no one could all while no one was looking at her.
But I think what we've said about the sheet is right, don't you?
Yes.
I bet we're wrong.
What about moment Cage was lifted?
Yeah! Even got a
wrong.
B-shot!
Woo! I'm so...
No, It wasn't possible to kill her the moment the cage was
I'm
lifted.
so paranoid we're going to get into the wrong logic spiral.
Yeah.
I remember there were these points in 2 where we like nearly failed.
Because the inside of the white cloth had Tenko's blood on it. That cloth was removed before the cage was lifted. If Tenko was stabbed then, there wouldn't be blood on the cloth.
Oh man, does that mean that we're actually not going to be obsessing on this point for the entire trial?
Yay!
What? But how could my golden brain be wrong when it felt so right?
That's often how things are, when you really think about it.
Very wise.
The only possibility is that Tenko was killed during the seance.
I got your remodel right here!
What? You were just...
All right, now I'll get to hit you with the sword.
No, it's still wrong to think that Tenko was killed during the seance.
Why?
I get to hit Miyu with a sword. No, I know. Okay, let's see.
What?
I'm gonna prove it right now. My golden brain is gonna go all out!
Do you remember how to do this part?
Yeah, I do, and I think we need to calm down and sort of let it pass.
Let them say what they're going to say, because that's been getting in our ways. We'll cut them off, literally, before they finish saying what they're going to say.
Yeah. But we need to understand what we've got, too. Last moment's marker stone.
Tenko died after the seance. It happened when the sheet was lifted. That was the moment the culprit chose to stab the fuck out of Tenko through the cage. They stuck the thin blade through the gaps, and that clean white sheet got stained blood red!
No!
But the weapon was a sickle.
Yeah.
Only the blade could have fit through the gaps.
And it's only 6 inches long.
The blade's all you need.
No, that's what it is, the blade. The sickle under
If you
the
stick
floor.
the blade through a gap in the cage,
No, it's the cage.
it'd be long enough to reach Tenko.
No. She's talking about
Sitting
the blade.
in there with her neck all exposed.
Oh, hold on.
She wasn't that far from the cage's gaps. In which case, the person who lifted the sheet is the culprit, and that's none other than Kyo!
I agree with that.
What she said was that with how Tenko was sitting, she could be stabbed through the cage with the blade. But that's not true. She wasn't sitting there. She was crouched on the bottom. That's literally what Miyu said, was sitting there like that, you could stab her with the sickle through the cage.
Okay, but it's the crouch position.
Yes.
Okay, that's what she's going for, because she doesn't know that.
Yes.
But that could be the marker stone, too.
I think it's Tenko's last moments because that literally mentions how her body was positioned. And that's what we're trying to refute.
But this...
Oh, so does that.
The
Dang.
marker stone says that, too. Wasn't marker stone there?
Marker stone was there, but...
Let's just...
I think it's Tenko's last moments. Because this is how her body was after they lifted the cage. The marker stone says how she was at the beginning of the seance. But because this shows how she was after they lifted the cage, this shows the position her body was in when they found her.
It's just coming at it from the beginning or the end. Okay, I'll trust you and we'll come at it from the end.
Okay.
Sitting in there with her neck all exposed.
Okay.
Like I was saying.
God
okay,
damn it!
She was sitting down normally. No, she wasn't. She was moved onto the marker position.
The blade's all you need.
I was right.
Okay,
You
so
stick the
be
blade
it.
through a
I'll
gap in the
accept the
cage.
responsibility.
It'd be long
You
enough
better.
to reach Tenko. Sitting in there with her neck all exposed.
Yeah,
cut through your words.
Good argument.
You did. I went with it.
I failed you. I'm so
Wait
sorry.
just a minute. Tenko wasn't sitting down inside the cage. She was bent over with her forehead against the marker stone.
It's true that when they found her, she was crouched, but she could have moved after she died, which in fact
okay.
she had.
Okay. That
But
makes
this is where she was going to be in the moment when the weapon would have been used.
Good point. Okay.
And the cage itself was about 3 feet tall.
That's why I was wondering about using the cage.
The sickle's blade was too short to reach Tenko. while she was in that position.
I also love how, just like us, Miyu is screaming that it's Korekiyo. And I bet it is. I mean, we've been arguing it the whole time, but wouldn't it be funny if Miyu had just from the very beginning was like, it was that guy. That's the guy that did it. It was him. And was right?
Yeah,
once?
Being right is the important thing.
Then I messed up again? How could this happen? I am so embarrassed.
At least she admits that she did it again.
No worries, Miyu. Everyone already knows you're an embarrassment to the human race.
True.
Yeah, no worries.
You are embarrassment to human race. No, she's contributing.
Yeah.
Ah! How embarrassing!
Just the way I like it.
If Shuichi is right, then it's impossible for Tenko to have been killed through the cage.
She couldn't have been killed during the seance since she was in the cage, right?
No. Now it's time to move on to the next step.
If she was killed then, the cloth over the cage would have been pierced.
Not during the seance or from below the floor. Then it's impossible, isn't it?
Well, we just gotta move on to that.
Yeah, for a living person.
Here we go.
We already proved that it wasn't a dead person.
Huh?
Well, technically we only proved Angie wasn't killed by a dead person.
We proved that the ritual didn't happen.
True, but they were using a seance to summon Angie. So maybe Angie, like I suggested earlier, that Korekiyo might suggest that Angie's ghost came and did it. So now Kokichi's probably going to say something along those lines.
Are you saying a ghost can hold a weapon?
Ghost can do whatever it puts its mind to, man. That's spectrophobic.
What if Angie's spirit killed Tenko?
Well, he's not being spectrophobic. I am!
What are you talking about? That's not possible.
We don't know that. Some things are impossible for a human, but not for a spirit.
Don't say stupid stuff like that. Screw spirits.
Stop that now.
Kyoko is 30% a ghost.
Angie's spirit killed Tenko? Why?
Bitter vengeance.
Himiko?
Why would Angie's spirit kill Tenko?
What if Tenko killed Angie, and then Angie's spirit came back for revenge?
Like I said, that's impossible. Spirits can't be culprits.
Spirits can't be culprits.
Then explain how the culprit killed Tenko under these impossible circumstances.
Well, we were before you derailed us with this ridiculousness.
Yeah, of course we can explain that.
Well,
See? You can't explain, can you? Only a spirit could have done
wait,
that!
I know. What if the culprit was hiding inside the cage?
What?
Inside the cage.
Damon, have you stopped to consider, what if there are 3 mediums in Kurain?
Have you stopped to consider, Billy, that actually, if there were 4 mediums in Kurain, then it would be even more possible. But if there were 5 mediums in Kurain, look, that made a big impression on us in this game as like the literally most sour grapes argument of all time. The straight up at the very end of the game, I didn't do it, it wasn't me, neener argument. I mean, just like Kyoko was a ghost, just a truly stellar argumentation. Okay, let's deal with this then.
If they were in there, they could have stabbed Tenko during the seance.
That's true.
He is right. If there was someone hiding under the cage, they could have stabbed Tenko.
Yeah.
No. If there was someone else in the cage, we would have
I agree
noticed.
with Kaito. The culprit could have been inside the cage.
Billy.
Maki, why?
Billy, do you realize we were wrong? The stupidest thing that was going to be argued wasn't that Tenko was killed, when the cage was lifted after the seance. The stupid point that we are going to have to fight to deal with is that the culprit was inside the cage.
Oh
no! The cage is 3 feet high and 5 feet wide. The only person currently living who can fit in there with Tenko is Himiko.
We know she wasn't in there because she lifted it from the outside.
But what if?
No, what if? Advance the game.
But what if when it began, Himiko used her magic to stay there singing, so everyone could tell that she was singing and you could hear her voice. She ran quietly, jumped in the hole in the floor, scurried up. The noise was her crawling out through the floorboards.
The one under Tenko who is like 3 times her size?
Yes. And then she comes out, kills Tenko without making a sound.
Or getting covered in blood.
Lifts the floorboard again. No, she got covered in blood. Let's be realistic. She lifted the...
I will kill you.
She lifted the floorboard, scurried under the floorboard, changed into a brand new uniform because she's pulled that trick off before.
Oh my God.
Then swallows the uniform so as not to leave any evidence. Crawls out during the hole and goes back over to the position where she was. Now, she didn't know where the magic circle was, so she was actually levitating with her magic.
All right. No, sure. Go ahead. Let's go with that.
I don't know. Maybe that's actually how it happened.
Maybe, Damon. Maybe.
The reason that she didn't also swallow the sickle that she used and had to leave it behind is because she'd already swallowed the...
her stomach was full. It's so small after all. I see.
Right, she'd already swallowed her uniform, and she was out of MP from using all the magic, but...
That's very logical.
Yeah, I thought so. You do?
Nonsense. There was no space in the cage for the culprit to hide.
Bless you, Korikyo.
Maybe the culprit wouldn't need to hide in the first place.
What?
Huh. Isn't that the Kokichi luring out the culprit thing?
Maybe so. Yeah.
Because why would somebody who is not prone to just going into full-on joke mode, which is fine, and ignores it useless, why would someone who is not prone to going off in full-on joke mode like Maki talk about such a ridiculous concept?
Yeah, maybe so.
Also, the culprit could have killed her in the cage at any time. I think you know what I'm getting at, right?
The they she's referring to... What?
Well, we think it's Korikyo, so let's pick Korikyo?
Have we really been wrong this whole time? Really? Do we have to be shocked then?
Well, who's she talking about then?
Tenko?
That would have to be what she's implying then, isn't it?
The only person who could have been inside the cage...
Yeah, that's the only other logical...
This was not a suicide.
No, but like you said, maybe she's doing a thing.
Like, why would she do that?
I believe Maki is referring to Tenko herself.
But why would she have done it? No, that doesn't make sense because we have the rest of the evidence.
Yeah.
I guess yes, it could have been one, but how would she have? You're saying she killed herself to encourage somebody else?
Killed herself with the sickle and then disposed of it in the corner of the crawl space?
Yeah.
Excuse me?
Yes, that's it. She killed herself, and since it wasn't enough to kill her immediately, she moves the floorboard herself.
Well, I kind of feel like that would leave a giant trail under the floor, but okay. Well, let's see where they're going with it.
How would she have flung this across the room? Yeah, it's true, I don't understand what that is, but why would she have prepared this?
I don't know, man. I just don't know. Let's see where they're going with
Why
this.
would she have cut these cross pieces out in precisely the right place? It's not like she was sniffing around in Korekiyo's lab looking at the caged child seance.
Yeah.
She didn't want anything to do with the seance in the first place. And how is killing herself? That doesn't even sound like... I understand what Sakura was doing.
Yeah.
I understand that what she was trying to do was to make everybody get their head out of their own ass.
She was trying to unite everyone.
The problem was...
that Monokuma F with the note she left behind.
I still don't think she should have done it, but I understand what she was doing and why. But I don't understand why Tenko would do it.
Yeah, just makes no sense.
What did you say?
Are you saying Tenko is the culprit?
She committed suicide.
No.
I don't buy it. I don't buy that it would have been Tenko who killed Angie.
Yeah.
And then committed suicide afterwards. For one, isn't she, like, trying to kill...
everyone? If she didn't leave a note or something?
Including Himiko?
Yeah!
Point? And if she was going to do that so vengefully, why would she have said the stuff that she said?
Suicide?
If she committed suicide, it would explain a lot of things we couldn't figure out.
I just don't think you're right here.
She volunteered to be in the cage and then stabbed herself during the seance.
And then, while dying, moved the floorboard under her, put her hand with the sickle down, and, like, yeeted it all the way across the empty room.
Without making a noise that anyone else would hear.
It wouldn't matter how dark the room was.
But the sickle she was stabbed with was under the floor, right? If Tenko had stabbed herself, wouldn't the sickle still be inside the cage?
Oh my god. Mew actually said something smart.
It's fair enough for her to bring up the stuff that she brings up. Even if it's wrong,
yeah.
It's good to knock those points down so there's no confusion.
Yeah.
Perhaps that explains why the floorboard was removed.
I'm also wondering if what Maki is saying really is the...
like 4D chess trying to get him to trip up or something?
Yeah, just like Kokichi, like how he primed the audience to expect that someone is trying to lure the culprit out. This would be how Maki is trying to make herself useful as the Kyoko TM.
After stabbing herself with the sickle, she threw it underneath the floor.
See, what Kokichi had said before was that he was trying to get the killer to be like, yeah, it was you.
And that's kind of what he's doing right now, isn't it?
Right. Before, Shuichi was like, no, that's not possible. It couldn't be that. And Kokichi was like, oh, man, Shuichi ruined my plan.
Yeah.
I don't like that. But here, Korekiyo is like, yeah, it was a suicide, come to think of it.
So she took off the floorboard to get rid of the sickle?
I could buy it, but how would she have known? Unless she suddenly decided to do it as soon as she was down there?
Right?
That's the only way that would make sense. At least 2 of the 3 rooms have exactly one place in the whole room where you can move the floorboard.
Yeah!
And you're saying that she happened to do it there? And if she's going to commit suicide, she wants everyone else to die with her? Like, die with me, Himiko?
What?
Huh?
Yes, that makes sense to Gonta.
It would.
Well, it doesn't make sense to me.
Good.
There's no reason for Tenko to commit suicide.
Not Tenko.
Yeah, not her of all people.
At least in Sakura's case, Sakura, her heart was in the right place the entire time, but she was also the traitor.
Yeah.
Now, she had not actually done anything wrong.
Well, neither of the traitors really did.
Right. But she couldn't forgive herself for nonetheless working with Monokuma. And so that's one of the reasons that she committed suicide in an effort to unite everybody by punishing herself for her own guilt in a way that would make everybody notice.
Yeah.
And everyone couldn't ignore it, and so she'd have a platform to say, stop it, stop fighting, stop arguing, and
stop the killing game.
And stop playing the killing game. I can understand that. But Tenko is not in that situation. She's too positive.
Yeah.
If Sakura weren't the traitor, she would never have committed suicide.
100%.
It's one thing to die defending someone else. Both Sakura and Tenko would do that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not what happened.
Maybe I wasn't too far off with the theory I had earlier.
Huh.
You know, about Tenko killing Angie.
Ideally, both Kokichi and Maki are trying to pull it out. Ideally. That may not be what's happening, but...
They do kind of operate in similar circles, psychologically speaking, so it makes sense that they would unintentionally work well together.
Okay, I can buy that, yeah.
Yeah?
Because Tenko and Angie were fighting for your attention, right?
Somebody finally brings it up. Miyu, shut up.
Yeah. Hey, Angie! When did you brainwash Himiko?
Tenko's pent-up frustration led her to commit such an atrocity.
Totally believable if it weren't for other things we've seen.
The fact that she came to us specifically for help with this exact matter
probably shows pretty solidly that she wasn't actually planning on killing her herself.
Yeah.
Well, I was just thinking about that duct tape again. No, we already had been in there to talk to Angie. Tenko, after going back, and we saw her go back to her room and go to bed.
Yeah.
She wouldn't just come back out and go talk to Angie, not after what she said.
Her conscience couldn't handle it anymore, so she decided to end her own life.
Well, if her conscience couldn't handle it, then she should have made sure to say that she did it before ending her own life.
Yeah.
Then I would buy that as
a possibility.
And as an atonement.
Yeah.
What?
But if she was gonna kill herself, why do it during the seance?
There's also that.
She wanted to hide the truth of her suicide.
So everyone would die, including the person that she was trying to get the attention of.
Really? Why?
There could only be one reason to hide it in a killing game, right?
Okay? The only reason you hide who does the killing in a killing game like this is so everyone else will die too.
Yeah.
It's to take us down with her.
That's the only reason. This is not a non-factor.
Right.
We have been saying this for several games and we'll beat this drum forever. And any individual person in these games that pretends to ignore this part, they have no credibility. Anyway.
Take us down?
Yeah, not Tenko.
She wanted us to pick the wrong answer during the class trial, so she could bring us all down. She wanted us to die with her. Okay, well, she probably just wanted Himiko to die with her, but still.
What are you saying? Tenko wasn't like that.
100% true.
Right, Tenko wasn't like that at all. She'd never do that.
She told me.
Keep your chin up and live life facing forward. Survive with me and everyone else.
What if all of that was just a lie?
Tenko doesn't lie, not like that. If she were to tell a lie, which she has, such as the, when Himiko asked if she played for the other team.
Right. She's not good at lying is the important thing here.
Yeah.
Her ex is a windmill.
Cute. Fuma Shuriken.
A lie?
Wait, we should believe Tenko's last words.
Yes!
The true terror of class trials is that you shouldn't believe everything said.
How honest of you to say that.
Himiko, you said that Tenko would never do anything like that. But how can you be so sure? Did you guys actually know each other? People keep all sorts of secrets. Like Maki. She hid the fact that she's a cold-blooded killer.
Maki may be a cold-blooded killer, and we don't know why she was in that situation, or how much blame she should have for it. Possibly all of it.
Yeah.
But we don't know. However, her behavior in this killing game the entire time has been impeccable. Big agree.
She hasn't
even acted suspicious. if she wanted to kill everyone here, she could do it without having to worry about a class trial.
Yeah.
Well, maybe.
Well, I think she's proficient enough to do a killing without leaving any evidence.
Well, there's that too. I'm just saying she could also have mass wiped everyone out.
Yeah.
Though Gonta and possibly Tenko may have been a problem. But if you just assassinate Gonta, then you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Is it wise of us to trust other people wholeheartedly in this kind of situation?
Perhaps it isn't. I mean, honestly, that we have to believe in each other because we are friends thing, which this game doesn't do at all.
Thank God.
Maybe just a little bit early on, but it was okay. It was okay.
Yeah, it was acceptable.
But the thing that the other two did, it was just idiocy. It was ridiculously naive. So anyway, while Kokichi's statement here is right, I think it's fair to trust Tenko completely.
Yeah.
Same with Kaito.
Jeez, you're such a naive dude.
Yes! Yes!
Take him down!
Oh, bring the hammer!
Naive?
We're all just people, you know? Of course we're gonna have some secrets. What matters is whether there's any malice behind them.
Spaceman.
Damon, you're getting a little weird.
People can lie about how malicious their hidden secrets really are.
The problem is even with all the skill and power Kokichi has in a situation like this really is Kaito's specialty.
Yeah.
Arguing
the heart.
Yeah, how do you put that? Well, I'll let him say it.
Well, duh. It's impossible to know for sure what others are thinking. That's why it all comes down to whether or not you believe in yourself.
Not where I was expecting him to go, but okay.
If you get betrayed, it's not their fault. It's your fault for believing in them.
Wait, what?
Isn't that Kokichi's point?
That's why I believed in Maki Roll, because I wanted to believe in her.
See, now he's just going into... This is the problem with Kamina, the Aniki, is sometimes it's like really heartfelt and wise and amazing, and sometimes it's just babble. Yes, I understand what he's saying, but it's really babbly.
Just because you're acting all cool doesn't mean you get to skip training.
Totally works on her. Totally works on Maki. It's always worked on Maki.
Hey, come on. Don't you think you're being a little too strict?
Well, we come from different backgrounds. So for now, let's agree to disagree.
Really, the last exchange, Kokichi was being completely frank. And emotionally frank, too.
Yeah.
He wasn't playing around or anything.
Well...
No one's ever called me naive before. And from Kaito? Seriously?
That's why it's the naive insult.
Yeah. Well, I trust what you say about Kokichi because you appear to be the Kokichi whisperer.
By the end of the game, we'll find out if that's true or not.
Yeah.
I remember being called naive before for not being a nihilist.
Yeah.
I had the same sort of response. Anyway, enough sophistry and pedantry, pedanticism.
One of those words.
Solipsism.
Ooh.
Whether or not I believe, my heart can't reach Tenko anymore. But I want to believe in her. She wouldn't commit suicide. She wouldn't try to take us down.
I'm willing to take that bet too, Himiko.
That's what I want to believe.
Me too. Gonta no can believe Tenko commits suicide.
But if Tenko did commit suicide, that would answer all of our questions.
No?
No, not at all.
If you insist we believe in Tenko, then provide a reason to do so.
A proper reason, eh?
Huh.
Well, at this point, I better save so we don't mess everything up. I hate doing it, but I get nervous sometimes.
All right, I'll give you a reason.
Is there a reason?
Yes, there is. Will you trust me, Maki?
Oh, this isn't what we're gonna lie about, is it?
If it turns out I'm wrong, you can blame me all you like. But for now, I need you to trust in my detective work.
I don't believe Tenko would kill herself because of what she said.
Okay, everyone, I'll see you guys after the seance.
She said, see you guys after. I doubt she had a sudden change of heart. Just because we don't know how she was killed doesn't mean that it was suicide. We shouldn't be satisfied with that. And if we keep thinking, we'll find the truth. And that means we have to believe in Tenko. I'll make them all believe. By telling a lie.
No!
However, we out of time. So we done. We'll look at this next time.
So far, suicide seems to be the best explanation.